Hi everyone! So today we'll be presenting our urban forestry management plan that myself as well as the other tree board members came up with for the city of Oakville. Here's a brief overview of what we'll be talking about, including some background information, more about the city of Oakville itself, the benefits of trees and our state of the urban forest, and some goals and recommendations as well as monitoring plan. So in writing this plan, we really had some main purposes. Because this is our first urban forestry management plan, it's going to be a 5-year plan that will be reviewed and revised after that time period. We also wanted to recognize that Oakville's urban forest is comprised of all of our public and private trees and should be protected for the benefit of all of our citizens. We are also facing many challenges currently, including rapid urban sprawl and an outbreak of the purple plum leaf borer. We really wanted to make the contents of this plan and the format relevant to the public and community leaders to get the most out of it, and we wanted to focus on education and planning to maintain and enhance the health and size of our urban forest. The mission statement for this plan is that the City of Oakville will strive to improve the current state of the urban forest in our expanding community. Through preservation, planting, and maintenance, we will work to increase the size and health of our urban forest while fostering a sense of stewardship in Oakville citizens. So a little bit about the city of Oakville. We're located on the Mississippi River in a suburb of the larger Forestropolis metropolitan area. We've really had a long history of tree stewardship. When the city was established, city officials intentionally left a large grove of oak trees intact in the center of Oakville's downtown that now make up the town center park. We have a population of about 12,000 people with an annual growth rate of 10.5%. We've been recognized as a Tree City USA since 1994 off and on, and we've maintained a tree board for over 20 years with an Arbor Day celebration annually in which local school children plant trees.
Urban areas around the country are expanding at a rapid rate. Oakville is among these communities that have shown rapid growth in the past few years. Retaining the urban forest and preserving natural areas within the city is more important now than ever. It is important to stress the collective benefits that cities receive from urban trees. These benefits seem to be as diverse as the trees themselves. We have already discussed the many environmental, social, and economic benefits of urban trees, including pollution abatement, increasing air quality, feelings of well-being, and economic growth. But these benefits extend past that. Some of these additional benefits include urban habitat for wildlife, huge energy saving potential with properly planted trees, and overall community beautification.
In order to develop an urban forest management plan, it is essential to first assess the state of the urban forest. The City of Oakville performed a park and street tree inventory in 2012. This data was used to understand the structure, composition, health, and benefit of the current forest. Goals and objectives were devised based on the assessment in such a way to put the current forest on a trajectory toward target conditions identified in the plan. The natural area and park assessment was primarily conducted to identify risks associated with hazard trees and invasive plants. The main concern for the city is to ensure the safety of its citizens. Trees which have health concerns, including structural problems, dieback, evidence of insect or fungal infection, or mechanical damage, these pose a threat to the city's citizens. Parks with a large percent of hazard trees were marked as high hazard risk. The inventory helped us prioritize the parks needing the most amount of maintenance. Hazard risk, invasives, crowding, and understory condition rank were all weighed in the construction of the priority maintenance list. More weight was placed on hazard trees due to their direct risk to the citizens of Oakville. A total of 4,119 trees were sampled and make up Oakville's street tree population. Of these trees, a total of 56 different species were identified. The most abundant species is the purple leaf plum, representing nearly 15% of the total live tree population. London plan tree, willow oak, and sweet gum also dominate the street tree population greater than 5 inches dBH. Trees less than 5 inches dBH were not sampled in this inventory. The majority of urban street trees are in good and fair condition. However, Oakville has a large population of standing dead trees. Nearly 12% of the street tree population is dead. Most of the street trees are of medium size. Most are between 11 and 15 inches, and few trees are larger than 30 inches DBH. London plane tree, purple leaf plum, and lace bark elm represent the greatest proportion of dead trees. Trends in species mortality may indicate trees that should be avoided for city plantings. Species experiencing a high mortality may not be well adapted for the environmental conditions of Oakville, or for, in the case of purple leaf plum, may be under pathogen or pest attack. It is important to identify which trees are experiencing a high mortality in order to tailor planting choices and identify hazards. We were able to process the street tree inventory through iTree Streets in order to quantify the ecosystem service benefits. iTree, as you may know, is a peer-reviewed software suite. iTree Streets analyzes energy, CO2 storage, and carbon sequestration, pollution removal, stormwater mitigation, and aesthetic values. Oakville street trees are estimated to provide nearly $300,000 worth of gross benefits annually. The bulk of these benefits are from energy conservation, stormwater mitigation, and aesthetic values. Due to population size, the purple leaf plum provides the most annual benefit to the city of Oakville. But the purple leaf plum tree is in rapid decline as the city is faced with the purple leaf plum borer. The total benefit lost so far as a result of species mortality equates to over $7,000. And the remaining trees, which are still standing, provide an annual benefit of over $40,000, which will soon be lost as well. I think one of the more interesting outputs that iTree Streets provides is a look at dollar price per tree on an annual basis. In this way, we can look at which actual species are providing the most benefit, taking out of the equation the size of the population. So in the case of Oakville, honey locust is actually the tree that's providing the most benefit. The honey locust, the white ash, or the northern hackberry may be appropriate substitutes for the removals of the purple leaf plum.
It saddens me to tell you about the confirmed presence of purple leaf plum borer in Oakville. We have to admit, with known infestations in the neighboring community of Mapleville, we knew it was only a matter of time until it was found here. The beetle was initially found in northern Wisconsin while researchers were trying to find herbs to make milk more tasty for cheese curds. Fortunately, PPLB only finds the leaves of the plum palatable, so no other tree species in Oakville is threatened. The beetle cannot fly far on its own, so preliminary infestations seem to be very concentrated around a few areas. PPLB is a defoliator and can completely consume all of the leaves of plums in just a few seasons. With 600 plums within the city limits, PPLB will have a devastating presence in Oakville. You can see some of the damage the beetle has already done in some trees in town. Many of these beautiful plums had been purposefully planted in downtown business areas to attract customers. To help with PPLB, Oakville has urged residents to be vigilant. Brochures have been handed out to residents that show the signs and symptoms of the beetle and provide numbers to call if the presence is suspected. Oakville will send a staff to confirm suspect tree infestations. As you can see from the chart, it'll be very costly to remove purple plums in Oakville. Trees will be removed and mulched. There are a few treatments available, but they're mostly sprays that make the leaves taste bad. This method of treatment is costly and will only be effective until it rains. Despite the devastation of PPLB, it does provide Oakville with a unique opportunity for diversification through new plantings, which will be discussed later in this presentation. Oakville has taken a management approach of preservation through education. We want to give developers the tools to make good decisions about development around trees and work with them to reduce the potential for fines. Oakville has an aggressive tree protection plan to protect trees from construction, accidents, and vandalism. No new construction can begin without the creation of a tree protection plan, which has to be approved by the city. Fines for misconduct, like the picture you see above, accidents, and vandalism will be handled on a case-by-case basis. One of Oakville's management goals is to preserve canopy cover. An ordinance was passed to recognize important and special trees and have the public vote on the removal of large heritage trees. Given that all public trees are property of Oakville, damage, which includes removal or any action that might compromise the health of the tree, will result in a fine. Private property trees and ownership issues are a little bit more tricky. To encourage the preservation of tree canopy on private property, we will provide education on the benefits of increased canopy cover, provide incentives, and as a last resort, move to regulations. Of course, this is all done on a case-by-case basis.
So based on the State of the Urban Forest information that you just heard, we came up with 3 main goals. The first is to maintain and expand Oakville's urban forest resource. We realize that the urban environment can be very stressful for trees and that we need to increase the diversity of our tree population in order to achieve a healthy urban forest, especially in light of the purple plum leaf borer outbreak. We also realize that we have a lot of unique opportunities for cooperation and education between public and private landowners, especially because of the new development opportunities that are occurring in Oakville. So to achieve that goal, we have several objectives. The first is to increase the size and health of Oakville's street tree population. This can be done by maximizing tree canopy, optimizing the age and species of our trees, and preserving trees through the development of city ordinances. The second is to maximize the ecological and environmental benefits that the urban forest provides. This can be done by following right tree, right place principles, as well as using trees as a tool to increase water quality and mitigate stormwater, which is a big issue in our community. Our second goal is to manage the urban forest to maximize community benefits for all residents. We realize that the value of Oakville's urban forest is largely underestimated and largely unknown to the public and other people in our community. Therefore, we need to advertise the benefits of trees to ensure that they remain an integral part of our landscape and are valued by our community members. Public safety is also a big issue in our community, and oftentimes trees can be treated as a liability rather than an asset, so we want to change that perception. And also the new development occurring, there's many opportunities for planting and on-site tree retention, which can further increase our urban forest. So based on that goal, we have several objectives. The first is to foster community support and participation through education and outreach. This can be done by the Arbor Day celebrations and our new Heritage Tree program. We want to adopt community initiatives to encourage the stewardship of urban trees and manage urban forests and green space to increase the health and well-being of our citizens. This can be done through increased recreational opportunities, as well as the structured street tree pruning schedule to ensure that hazard trees are not on our streets. Finally, we want to develop an emergency management plan for the protection of the urban forest. Because of the purple plum leaf borer outbreak, we need a program to combat pests, as well as establish protocols for storm events. The final goal is to develop and maintain a long-term management framework. We realize that a one-size-fits-all approach to urban forestry management doesn't always work. Therefore, we need strong policy, planning, and management to ensure that the urban forest is protected. Also, we need to capitalize on connections between urban forestry and other city departments so that we're all working together to increase the health of the urban forest. To achieve that goal, we have several objectives again. These include establishing designated management for the city's urban forestry program. We're currently looking to hire a part-time certified arborist to serve as our city forester. We want to maintain continuously our Tree City USA status for the next 5 years, facilitate cooperative interactions and communications between our urban forestry folks and our community leaders by providing additional educational opportunities and outreach events. And finally, we want to develop and implement best management practices and tools to really ensure that we are increasing the health of our urban forest.
In order to assess if the city is meeting the goals described in the management plan, a monitoring and evaluation plan has been established. The evaluation process will help management determine if they are getting what they want and to what degree that they are getting it. We've put together a 5-year monitoring schedule for the city of Oakville. In the schedule, we have listed several indicators for each goal and which years we would be measuring these indicators. In this way, we can determine how successful we've been at meeting the goals set forth in our management plan. Our tree risk assessment, for example, is one of the main components of our evaluation tactic. It serves as one indicator of the successfulness of meeting goal number 1 of our management plan, to maintain and expand the urban forest.
As we conclude the presentation, we want to stress to our community members that urban forest management is a group effort. Community members who are interested in doing more can work together with Oakville management staff to volunteer to help green Oakville. These include new tree plantings, nominating your favorite tree to become a member of the Heritage Tree Program, or simply just caring for the trees around you. A special thanks goes out to our tree board for the countless hours it took to prepare this management plan and presentation. Their names, as well as their duties, are listed on the next slide. Abby, Lacey, and myself thank you for your attention, and we will be happy to take questions and comments on the Blackboard site.